construction of airplanes, and they wound up with contracts with the
May 17th, Virginia Beach Air Show.
A large number of airplanes, including the Wildcat and the Avenger. When you build an airplane, or when you built airplanes for the United States Navy, it's an alphabet soup. You would try and decode the names based on the one, and get ready for a flight of U.S. Navy aircraft circa 1942. And today we're going to take as our subject the Battle of Midway. Warbirds Over the Beach almost always seems to coincide with a lot of important historic anniversaries, and the month of May 1942, again, let's look at that alphabet soup. E, patrol bomber. Y for the consolidated company. 5A, the fifth model, and A for amphibious, because believe it or not, this plane, for the Trojans in the early 1930s, was built first as a strict component with no detachment toilet, and then later adapted to amphibious aircraft landing gear. You see these use to great effect today. You can also hear the great radio engine kicking over, getting ready to launch at WWII Sky. What a magnificent wing, and you can see as well the wingtip looking a little bit different. And here's the time of the Battle of Midway, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that momentarily. You can see just how large the Avenger is, the A-3 Sky Warrior. But taking now to the air with the two bombs with the controls, the WWII-5A Catalina of the Military Aviation Museum. Which provided for tremendous great advantage for the American carrier forces at the Battle of Midway. Right now, one of the finest designs of Ed Heinemann, the Douglas AD-4 Sky Raider. Of the Sky Raider, the States Navy. Coming now, torpedo bomber of the Battle of Midway, the TBM Avenger. To prepare, see. And here another radio engine powered aircraft, the Douglas SPD Gauntlet. Succeeded by the SPD Gauntlet dive, the diminutive FM2 Wildcat, taking very little runway with a launch into the sky. The FG-1D Corsair. Mr. John Quinton is behind the controls of our Corsair today. Now this is a licensed copy. Actually bought the Corsair, built by the passing over now is that beautiful long wing of the WWII Catalina, which would have 17 miles from the this particular plane is a dual-purpose plane, which the plane both dive bombers and torpedo bombers, a single platform. The TBM Avenger is now passing over ahead. Such a versatile aircraft, all-weather warfare platform. As a matter of fact, our own aircraft,
here at the air show.
Designed originally as the BG-1 by Jack
about
Martin,
1:30.
with Ed Heinemann leading a strong, such a veteran pilot.
No, I'm not. Got cool water in the shower. Helped out a lot. No, about 4 or 5 hours. Right now they just launched the Navy aircraft. PDY's flying over.
Beautiful formation flight. Slowly the controls of our AD4 Sky Raider.
Bowman, and then our very own Waco, that wonderful 1930s Art Nouveau style, all red biplane, which is a real beauty. There are rides available in all of those airplanes. They're all for sale. You go around to the far end of the hangar, at the far end of the ramp, you will see that there's a tent set up, advertising stuff and everything else like that. Go talk to any one of those people that are interested in flying one of those airplanes, and we can squeeze it in today before we all go home. Yeah, here's that wonderful it's hard to tell.
It's the donkey.
I'll go for the Dauntless. There you go.
And as you pass it, you'll see the beautiful perforated flaps. The flaps that were so valuable in the mission of the dive bomber during World War II and made the Dauntless such a devastating weapon. Not the
Area in the wing area below the fuselage was actually a sealed box. The whole thing in it was airtight. The idea would help float a little bit longer in case of a digit number.
Besides the vagaries of operating the Corsair carrier, I think a technique was developed to do so. We should also note that the wing that is truly the signature of the FC-1 doing all of these air that is mounted on the radial engine of this magnificent aircraft. The carrier hangar decks being much shorter than they were on the Essex-class carriers. The AD4 Sky Raider has a propeller of similar size, but she is much taller because the hangar decks of later Essex-class boats and Forrestal-class carriers could accommodate the taller airplane.
The Wildcat's going off now. They're going to be a very good thing. Normal crew, of course, is 3 in that. There's 1 gunner and that turret, and the radio operator is normally sitting kind of in the middle position. The Cat for sale, by the way. Please come to the announcer's booth. We are getting a hold of the F6M. But anyway, F6M folds the wings the same way. Later airplanes do. The Avenger folds the wings that way. If you look at today's carrier decks, the E2 and the C2 Hawkeyes fold the same way still.
And they're all designed by Grumman. It's a distinctive element of Grumman designs that their wing folding mechanisms for 70 years has remained virtually unchanged.
The Corsair here he is rolling out there. The tail wheel looks like it's kind of long and stalky. That's what makes it different. You're talking about the first tail wheel.
And of course, as our Navy pilots make their return to their parking spaces on our ramp, we hope to give them, extend to them a wave and a welcome back. Wild cargo from Northern Aviation Museum. You're taking off now the finest American pursuit aircraft of the war, the Johnny Moss at the controls of our P-40 Kitty Hawk today.
An interesting aviation for a long time. Being enthusiastic.
capable of actually going into combat competing against things with Messerschmitt 262 and the Arado 4 could not cope with the overwhelming numbers of overwhelming onslaught brought by such medium bombers as B-25, the Mark B-26, and larger heavy bombers like the consolidated Liberator, B-24, as well over 1,000 aircraft, the Germans in North Africa. Now, toward the end of the war, Germany tried valiantly to field some what they called wonder weapons in an attempt to win the day against the overwhelming odds being put forward by such clients as our wonderful wild cargo, the B-25 that had just landed on that airfield. And the name of its designer, Kurt Hunk, whose Fokker 44 we saw fly earlier this afternoon. But it was more fantastic aircraft like the Messerschmitt Me-262 and the Arado AR-234 that really presaged what was to come in the post-war years, the advanced jet aircraft, turbojet aircraft, which were developed almost simultaneously by the British and the Germans. Unfortunately, even the Me-262 had difficulty competing with planes like the P-51 Mustang, in part because of the poor training of the pilots, and also because of vulnerability in flight, especially in landing.
Everybody knows the ground gunners, the little slitter engine. It is tough to identify an airplane from nose on when it's coming at you rapidly. They painted the undersides of some of their airplanes with the most startling paint schemes ever seen in World War II. They had one that was all red and white stripes, broad stripes underneath. They called them the Papageistaffel, which literally translates as the Parrot Squadron, because they were so bright. But they were a brave bunch of guys who go up and try to defend the two guys who were trying to go up and get the bomb.
It should be noted, though, that by the end of the war, although they had tried desperately to defend the operations of the Me-262, got complete airframe, and it's actually, if you look for Ozzy, the annex to the National Air and Space Museum just outside of Washington at Dulles Airport. So if you want to see one, that's sort of the Rhodes Gallery where they have remaining aircraft from the advanced design and development projects at the end of World War II. Fighters built by the Hawker Corporation, the Hawker the apparent superiority of the Supermarine Spitfire, that even if they were shot down by a Hawker Hurricane, when being picked up from their wreckage, they would say, it was a Spitfire, it was a Spitfire. And even though they were told by the night pilot who shot them down, no, there are no Spitfires, it's the Spitfire that shot them down. And as my father referred to it, he called it Spitfire. On our crosswind runway to the accompaniment of such fine aircraft as our Ju-52 coming in for a landing with Mr. Eskew, Mr. Radwanek at the controls. You can even see now the folding door at the rear end of the Rolls-Royce-powered aircraft, the Hawker Hurricane. So as our Ju-52 taxis back to her place behind the fighter factory, we now bring to the fore, to center stage, the DeHaviland Mosquito. This beautiful aircraft built almost entirely of wood with two Rolls-Royce Merlin engines, a design that nobody wanted, that took 11 months from original design drawings to the first flight of the prototype W4050, which still survives today at her birthplace of Salisbury Hall in Great Britain. To the DeHaviland Mosquito, an all-wooden, high-speed, all-weather light bomber with the bomb load of a heavy bomber. A crew of two sitting side by side, this plane could carry a maximum bomb load of 4,000 pounds. The DeHaviland DH-98 Mosquito of the Military Aviation Museum, KA-114, is of the FB-26 variety. This is the fighter bomber version of this aircraft, and we are very happy to have it with us today.
So what happened was that day, Brian,
The DeHaviland Mosquito of the Military Aviation Museum, in its fighter bomber configuration, could still carry a maximum of 3,000 pounds worth of ordnance. That represents that represents, KA-114. For a high-speed heavy bomber, let alone a high-speed heavy bomber constructed entirely of wood. Sir Geoffrey DeHaviland, the head of the DeHaviland Company, decided that despite the lack of support from the airmen in 1940, 11 months were all that it took. Taking to the air now, our Yakovlev Yak-3. The Yak-3, part of a family of fighters built by the pilot. Also, these planes were not fitted with bulletproof windscreens until much later, only after a few bird strikes. As a matter of fact, the low flying techniques employed by de Havilland Mosquitoes put them at great risk for encountering various obstructions on the ground, like chimney pots. Aircraft, the de Havilland DH-98 and the Hawker Hurricane overflying our field in tight formation today, a flight of 3 Rolls-Royce Merlin engines. What a sound. Naval vessel. In fact, it was intended to be used against the battleship Tirpitz, which was holed up in a Norwegian fjord. However, the bomber command of RAF beat the fleet air arm to the punch, sank the Tirpitz at her moorings. Returning now, Mr. John Fuentes in our Hawker Hurricane. The Tirpitz was sunk at her moorings, and so the highball mission will be with you once again for this occasion, on the 6th such occasion that I have hosted, and I hope to be back with you for the Flying Prawns next month, and also biplanes and triplanes in October. More information on upcoming events is on our website, militaryaviationmuseum.org. That's Military Aviation Museum. Actually, a slight correction with regards to plane rides this afternoon. They will be offered and available only up to 4:30, not 5 o'clock. So the last rides will be made available at 4:30. And now, coming in on her final approach, KA-114, the de Havilland Mosquito of the Military Aviation Museum. Well, that was supposed to be the final approach. We must forgive Mr. Spaulding for his enthusiasm. Aviation Museum. A wooden wonder and one of only 2 airworthy examples in the world today. We are very pleased to demonstrate this aircraft for you this afternoon, and we do hope that you've enjoyed the occasion. I would say, although it's difficult for me to pick a favorite, because of the incredible technology that went into the manufacture of this plane and the dedication of the men and women at the de Havilland Company, I think that this is probably my favorite airplane, and perhaps it's yours too. Thanks to our visiting pilots and our visiting planes from our troop of SNJ. The Dauntless and yet another SNJ taking to the sky once more.